Good morning! Story time with Sam, 4 out of 12. I cannot believe we're going into May. That is insane. How are we in May already? So what did April 22 bring? Staff momentum being on point is what I decided to title this episode. So I have quite a lot of contacts that are taking on their first member of staff at the moment, not necessarily just in accountancy. I just know a few people that have been talking about this, and it's not an easy ride. It's really not. It's worth it, but it's not an easy ride. And I thought, right, let's bullet point this out, and this is what I came up with. So number one, trust is everything. If you can't trust a staff member, then they're not the right person. And okay, trust has to be earned. It's not a given. But I think quite quickly, if your gut is telling you that you potentially can't trust somebody, then they're certainly not the right person to be employing. Number two, make sure you have your staff handbook, company policies, and everything else that comes with employing people when it comes to legalities ready with plenty of time to spare. And I know that might sound obvious, and it's probably the first thing you think about is, right, I need a contract, I need a policy, I need a policy for this and a policy for that. But trust me, there are a lot of them. If you're going to do things properly, there's a lot of policies you need in place, and a lot of the time you have to bounce back and forward with your HR firm or whoever's doing that for you, because it's not a one-size-fits-all scenario, not if you want to do it so that you're covered in every element and making sure you're doing things how you should. Number three, delegation is an art. It's a skill that doesn't always come naturally, but you can learn how to spread the load, how to delegate different tasks, things that you're not necessarily comfortable at handing over, but you have to because you've taken on staff, and that's why you've taken on the staff, so that you're not doing as much yourself. There's so many useful articles, books, webinars, there's all sorts about this subject. Delegation is an art. Read the books, look up the articles and learn about it. Educate yourself if it's something that you think you're going to struggle with, because I certainly have. And I will admit that it's been hard. Number four, things may have to change. If it's just been you and your business for some time, then it can be a real shock as to how many processes need adapting once staff are in place. I've always tried to run my practice in a way that no matter how many staff members come on board, that will be okay, and we're not going to have a huge task on our hands to change things, to adapt for staff coming on board. But you know what? There are a lot of things that you don't think about until the staff are there. There's a lot of systems and processes that are just never ending, really, in terms of development. And I think the key here is that it's okay to have not sussed it all before taking on your first employee, because you grow together. You might think that something you've put in place to share some information with a staff member or a training course or whatever it may be was spot on, but actually get feedback from the staff member. If you've got that relationship from the start where they know that they can communicate with you, that it's a two-way street, then you will grow together, and that's how you want it to be. At the end of the day, you are a team once you take on staff. Number five, handing over responsibilities within a business that you've created from nothing. Not necessarily from nothing, everybody's in a different scenario, but I think most small business owners have put a lot of blood, sweat and tears, so to speak, into their business, and to hand over some of the responsibilities is never going to come easily if that's the case. But if you employ the right people, it will be worth it. So I think it's almost like you're letting go of your baby. It is very, very difficult, but it will be worth it. Number six, clients may need treating gently if they've only ever dealt with you. I knew that this was the case from working in a small practice in the past. I've been on the other side of this where, I was approaching clients that had only ever dealt with my boss in a previous role, and they were quite taken aback and, well, who are you? Well, no, I want to speak to so-and-so. I've had all that, and I've been through it with the shoe on the other foot. So I kind of felt like I knew how to approach this one, but I still think it's a very important point to make. I think if you have the right people in the right roles, then this subject will settle. Your clients will begin to trust the staff member, and it will be worth the effort. But I think my advice here would be to tread gently, take small baby steps with clients. Obviously I'm talking about the accountancy industry here, but don't just say this is so and so there, now I'm going to be doing everything for you and your business, because a lot of the time the client will be, they'll be nervous about that. Maybe just do baby steps, they'll be taking over this element, however you can work it so that even if that staff member is doing a lot in the background, the client is still having that contact with you for some of the time, if that's what they're used to at first. Proper introductions, I think, is the other thing here. Again, something that I've been on the other side of. I know how important it is. The tagline of my business is balancing technology with humanity. So the last thing I want is for my clients to think, oh, well, it's just the staff member now, Sam's never there, it's all done by the computer. I don't want any of that. So proper introductions, this is who's working for me, this is her role, this is what she'll be doing, this is what she'll be contacting you for. I think that's worth its weight in gold and certainly worth putting time into. And then finally, number 7, communication is key. And I think this is always the case with any relationship, but I think it's important to have this as a point. So communication is key always, and by this I'm talking about with your staff member. It's key before you start, before they're sat at their desk or doing whatever they're doing for you. It's key to have that communication there and make sure they know exactly what their role is going to be. It's key to have that communication ongoing, keep it running, make sure you both know if there are any duties that change, don't just document them, make sure you've had a conversation about them. And then also I think communication is key if the relationship breaks down and if you decide that the person's not the right fit, maybe after the trial period you decide it's not right, keep that communication going, have some respect for the person that you gave a chance to explain to them why it's not right. And certainly from my point of view, if that happened the other way around, I would want to sit down and do kind of that exit interview type scenario of why didn't you want to stay, because that's the only way that we can improve and develop. So I wanted to finish this one by saying that I'm really grateful for the people I have with me on this journey in business. The team's growing, staff are absolutely amazing, but our momentum has taken time. That's not because of the staff, that's not because there's anything wrong with anybody that I've employed. It's because I kept a lot of information in my head, which I spoke about in Story Time with Sam episode 2, I think it was. So check that one out if you want to know what I'm on about there. Anyway, I will see you all again in June. Take care.